Welcome back to another episode of Insects for Fun. We've already learned about some lions and entomology, so today on episode 85, we're talking about tigers, specifically the beetle variety. Tiger beetles have an interesting relationship with ground beetles from a taxonomic perspective. For a while, they were treated as a subfamily within the family of ground beetles, Carabidae, but more recent publications have since claimed they should be their own family called Cicindelidae, which comes from the Latin word cicindella. I think they definitely deserve their own family, but the Latin word cicindella means glowworm, and to me, that doesn't make much sense. The larvae for tiger beetles don't glow at all, and the adults don't either. It's believed to come from the fact that most tiger beetles shine brightly with metallic colors, which is true, but I wouldn't try using them as a nightlight. There are approximately over 3,000 species of tiger beetles in the world today, and this number has risen from 2,600, which was the estimate back in 2005, and that rose from the initial estimate of 2,000 back in the late 90s. The beetles are unmistakable with their long legs, large eyes, and lean body shape. The heads and abdomen are both larger than the pronotum, so the insects look like they have a distinct neck. They're also often found with patterns and spots that contrast with the colors of their elytra. Many of these beetles are colored to match their surroundings, so green tigers dwell in forested areas while light brown or tan beetles scurry around on dirt or sand. But they can also be found with metallic hues of blue and purple. The beetles have strong mandibles which vary in size depending on the prey they feed on, but are generally pretty easy to see with the naked eye. As for where you can find them, they live throughout the world, except for Antarctica, but most species are in the tropics. There are 5 known species in the UK, around 109 species in America, with 60 or more found in Texas alone, and then up north in Canada, there's only around 36. Japan has less than that, surprisingly, with only around 24. To be honest, trying to get an exact agreed upon answer for species distribution with this group of beetles is not possible, and every paper I read says something slightly different. It also seems that with every new publication, the number of known species increases, but everyone does agree that the number of species in tropical regions far outnumbers those in more temperate places. What I can say for certain is that all these beetles, no matter where they live, are predatory, both as adults and as larvae. They feed on a variety of other insects like caterpillars, spiders, other beetles, ants, grasshoppers, you name it. The difference is in how each life stage hunts its prey. There's a reason why these beetles are called tigers, and it's not for the patterns they often have. You see, the adults run fast, and they hunt down their prey the way tigers stalk and chase their prey. Some of the beetles do this under broad daylight, while others are nocturnal and only hunt in the dark. But tiger beetles love open areas, and you can find them running across sand dunes or beaches, cleared paths in forests, or desert scrublands. Actually, the fastest running insect in the world is the Australian tiger beetle Cicindela hudsoni, and those can run up to 2.5 meters per second. That's amazing, considering these are only 2 centimeters long. To put that in perspective for you, that's like a human running 800 kilometers per hour, or 497 miles per hour. But honestly, humans would have to jog just to keep up with them anyway. And that's of course considering our size difference. Something to note is that even though they have super speed, their vision actually can't keep up with it, which is exactly why beetles have to pause periodically while on the hunt. This is to give them a second to refocus their vision, and sometimes the beetles catch up to their prey so fast that they lose sight when the prey stops moving, even if it's right under them. This is when they use their antennae or other senses like hearing to locate their victims or enemies. Tiger beetles actually have large ears on their abdomen, which can hear high frequencies just like bats. But these ears are covered by their elytra, so they only hear best when in flight or if they have their elytra lifted. These beetles really are apex predators, and as I just mentioned, they can even fly. But they can only fly about 20 or 30 feet before they have to land. Some other notable adaptations for the adult tiger beetles are the hairs they have on their legs. These help them pick up traction on the various terrains they scamper across, but it also helps protect the beetles from heat in the instance they're daytime sandrunners. These hairs are usually white, which keeps them from absorbing heat. The beetles also lift their bodies up and off the ground to catch cooler breezes, but they of course have the option of hiding under plants or even burying themselves in the loose soil or sand. When it comes to defenses, the beetles usually rely on their speed to get away. But sometimes this isn't enough, and some tiger beetles have evolved the ability to produce cyanide, which, as you probably know, is poisonous to many animals. The ones that can do this usually have orange markings, which is a great warning color and easy to remember by predators that have been poisoned before, if they didn't die. And yes, the cyanide produced by tiger beetles like the Carolina metallic tiger beetle, Tetraca carolina, can be enough to kill small predators, if fully ingested. The common predators to tiger beetles are robber flies, dragonflies, small birds, lizards, other tiger beetles, and of course, parasitoids. But what's the deal with their larvae? And what's the usual life cycle for these incredible animals? Tiger beetles usually mate in summer or fall, and the eggs are deposited into the soil where the larvae stay as they molt through 3 instars and then eventually pupate. Even though the larvae are also predaceous, they don't hunt down their prey the way adult beetles do. They're limited to staying in the soil, and they often wait for prey to walk by the same way antlion larvae do. The time it takes to complete their life cycle varies on how much food they've been able to eat. But generally speaking, the life cycle for tiger beetles is at least 2 years from the larvae through the adult stage, with adults having the shorter lifespan. Some adults only live for a month or 2 before they lay eggs and then return to the earth. Something interesting to note is that the males use their mandibles to cling onto the females during mating. Some of them even ride the female afterwards for a short while to ensure that no other males will pursue her. A female tiger beetle can lay upwards of 50 eggs, and she'll deposit them relatively close together. The larvae actually don't need much room to grow, so you sometimes see 2 larvae right next to each other burrowed in small holes. These holes are perfect for luring in ants and other small arthropods that are seeking shelter from the sun. If the tiger beetle larvae are hungry, then they'll launch out from the burrow, grab the unsuspecting prey that got too close, and drag them into their burrow. Sometimes, though, the larvae aren't hungry at all, and ants will just wander down into the holes and leave when they realize it's occupied. Now, before we finish the episode, let's take a look at what tiger beetles mean to different people around the world. Starting with Native Americans. In Native American culture, tiger beetles are seen as a source of strength and power. They're also associated with the sun, because the energy they possess to reach great speeds is like the limitless power from the sun. They're believed to be good luck and spiritual guides for those seeking courage and determination. In Africa, these beetles are also seen as a source of power, and they represent a warrior's spirit, which is pretty cool. The Maasai people of East Africa see them as a symbol of courage and bravery, which makes total sense because of the beetles' hunting habits. Interestingly, they also hold some meaning in more Western cultures and religions as well. For example, in Christianity, they can be viewed to represent the Holy Spirit due to their swiftness, or the devil for their predatory nature. In Europe, they're viewed as a symbol of bravery, and Romans believe these insects could actually ward off evil. And that's gonna wrap up today's episode. As always, make sure to rate the show by clicking the 3 dots on Spotify or rate it and leave a review on Apple to boost our rankings. Images from this week's episode will go live on Instagram and Facebook upon release, and I'll add some photos for last week's episode as well. If you want to support the show financially, you can check out the Insects for Fun Patreon, where the merch store has gone live. I'm also currently recording bonus episodes and editing vlogs. I've got a lot more time now that I'm on spring vacation, so I'll be updating the Patreon page quite a bit. Thanks again for listening.